Tracey.
Thank you very much and welcome everybody. It's lovely if you've joined us again from coming on last week as well to see us. So this week we're sort of following on from where we left last week, really. The loose parts, I think, last week is like the foundation, basically. If you've got your loose parts, then you've got your foundation. You can move on and learn, use whatever you need to do with those. So this week I've got a quick outline look at subitising and the use of 5 stroke 10 frames within your early years setting. Obviously, we've had a lot of practice, trial and error with things we do. We've come to kind of like a happy place where we've got all these things are in place. It may be that things aren't suitable for your setting. You might just take out one little idea, which if you do, I'll be thrilled if you just take away one little bit of snippet of idea to try and use in your setting. So I will get on with our presentation, and obviously, like Natalie said, if you've got anything you'd like to ask, you can ask at the end or pop it in the chat box. I'm free to answer questions, whatever you would like to do at the end. So our little session this week, subitising and 5 frames in the early years. The aim, I've given a little thought to it. I mean, I'm not an expert. I've been practicing doing these things for many years. I've been in my role here at Childhaven for 34 years. Things have developed, changed, moved on, moved backwards, moved on again. We're, like I said before, we're in a quite of a happy place at the moment, using loose parts predominantly within maths learning, with lots of other learning. So the aim of today is to kind of let you have an idea of what subitising is. You've most probably come around this and use it probably in a different way to what we do. Um, Ideas also alongside the 5 and 10 frames, which sometimes some come sort of cross over and interact a little bit, I think. Know why these two things matter in math development and the link, like I said, between them both. And then I hope you can go away with some little practical ideas that you can then use, or strategies to implement within your own day, in your own setting. Um, the first thing, like looking at a dice, straight away, one of the things we would say, what can you see? How many spots do you see? Instantly, we look at that and we see 5. We know the pattern. We know a 5 pattern. We know there's 5 spots. We can easily subitise. So subitise is really looking at a pattern and instantly having that number of what you can see in your head straight away without having to touch count by touching 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that. I can see that's 5. We've learnt that over the years from dice patterns, from playing, from numbers, from shape, from pattern, all over. So that is what we're hoping our children are going to eventually be able to do. Some children pick this skill up very, very easy. Some children can look at one object and see one. Some have to touch it to make sure there is actually one there. So subitising, um, we have that. It's all over in every single part of nursery, whether it be snack, in the mixing powder paint, in this technology construction. It's all over. We just use it incidentally. So what can you see again? What can you see on here? We've got a tens frame. We've got loose parts. We've got a very interested child. We've got engagement, exploring, placing, early maths, spatial awareness, quantity, and math language. All those few little things just from one little boy playing with a 10 frame and a mixture of loose parts, natural objects. So what is subitising? There's 2 types: perceptual subitising, which is instantly looking at a group of objects and recognising the quantities. Usually initially up to 3 to 4. 3 to 4 objects is quite hard at our early years children's age. 5, 6, you know yourself, sometimes when it gets to 6, 7, 8, you might just have to have a good little look and think 1, 2, 3, try and maybe touch a little bit. But 1, 2, 3, we're aiming at really. We don't worry about more than that really initially. 1, 2, and 3. 1 sometimes is just what we need to be working at, and that is absolutely fine. You know your children, we know our children, you know where they are and what you can do, what you can challenge, or where you need to sort of work a little bit more at to get those solid foundations set. So perceptual subitizing is the instantly recognizing small quantities, no counting, just looking and seeing visually. And then the conceptual is seeing numbers as groups. So a child may have 5 buttons. You might have placed some different coloured buttons in a little pot. They may see the 5, that great, they might see 5 straight away. They may see that 3 are pink and 2 are yellow. So it's working out, it supports the addition, subtraction. This develops naturally through the experiences of using Subitising within loose parts with an adult modelling, with an adult narrating alongside, interacting, guiding, supporting, all those things I did mention last week, the things that you can do as a good practitioner alongside your child's learning. So why is Subitising important? Subitising can play a key role in the development strong number sense with children. They can cover, if they can subsidize, they rely less on knowing that they can count. Some children struggle with the verbal speech or being a little embarrassed. Everybody's different. Every child, yourself, everybody's different. You've all got your different quirks, your different natures, how you are. Some children would prefer not to talk, but they can see that they've got 5 bob. So subsidizing is really important to let every child be involved. So they rely less on the counting and the pressure of that. They can develop their confidence with numbers. They're better prepared for mental maths and problem solving. Lots of problem solving that you can interact and develop and challenge with subitizing in loose parts. And then it offers a greater flexibility in their thinking about number. Lots of links to the EYFS. Subitizing supports the number, understanding of quantity, value, number patterns, recognizing groups and relationships between numbers. And it promotes a depth of understanding rather than the speed and fits naturally, absolutely naturally. This is where we're at, naturally within play-based learning and continuous core provision. So that's like a little key, the core provision, knowing, letting your children know that they can come back to a space to return to develop their ever increasing skills. So if they've had a really great day at playing with the corks or the cones or the buttons or the stones or the shiny pebbles or whatever you've got, pegs, whatever it may be, they will be there tomorrow or the next time they come in to come back and expand or develop a little bit further with your interaction with them. So the core resources is a massive part of what we do here. Works well for us. I'm not saying it's going to work well for everybody. Everybody's different. Every setting is different. But that is what we are doing here. We have the core resources in all our spaces, so the children have the consistency of coming back to those spaces to develop their skills and move them forward themselves or with a little bit of help interaction from an adult. So how does subitizing develop? How do you start it? So simply with loose parts, begin by recognizing very small quantities. Children, like I said, one is enough. One finger, one stone, one shell, one pebble, one log, one shoe, one sock. One, just remembering one. Talk about one in play. Showing one tissue, one bar of soap if you're washing your hands. Talk about one. What can you see? Recognizing familiar patterns such as Dyson fingers, using dice, using your fingers in number rhymes, in songs, in showing how many you've got. Your fingers, your digits, they're there. They're a valuable tool. Easy, there all the time. You can have them out constantly. Start to explain. Children can start to explain. We tend to use a lot of the questioning, just a simple statement. What can you see? What did you see? And then they can say what they want. If they want to say, I saw 2, I saw 3, I saw 1, whatever they see, they can explain. They may see, every child might see something differently. And that's the value and the joy of working with young children's minds. They're amazing. The development varies obviously between children and it's not linear. Again, I just want to say the pictures that I'm showing, the pictures that we have actually had in nursery, all our children are on here in play, uh, in loose parts, in everyday setting, in the spaces, just with incidental objects. So um, it's all real and hands-on. So the adult role and practical ways to support subitising in everyday subitising opportunities. You may well be doing some of these, but if you can take one little thing away, I will be absolutely delighted. Loose parts. That's why I wanted last week's session to be the first one because I believe that that's the foundation. You've got your loose parts, anything can move forward with loose parts. So they allow opportunities to support natural grouping, use of dice, dominoes, dot patterns, fingers. These encourage different ways to show the same number, 5 and 10 frames, which we're going to talk about a little bit after the subitizing. All interlinked, woven in together alongside. Briefly, you can show quantity instead of leaving it visible to be counted. So yeah, you're subitizing, you've got two buttons, two there, take them away. You've got two, put them back, you've got three, change them, challenging the child, interacting, modeling again. Useful prompts that we do try to say, how many did you see? What did you notice? How do you know? Encouraging that critical thinking in a little child's brain, just to get that thinking going, problem solving, deciding, exploring, experimenting. The adult role, modeling, thinking aloud what we do, how we're doing it. Oh, I see 2 pegs. If I put one more peg, oh, I see 3 pegs now. So you modeling alongside, talking what you're doing, slowly, clearly to a child. They will be listening beside you, working with you, hopefully taking in some of what you're saying, and then practicing those skills that they are being around. And remembering just that counting is not wrong by any means. We need to count by rote. We need to know that there's an order in numbers. Life is an order of numbers, 1, 2, 3. You know, that is not wrong. It's just that subitizing is another way that children can learn about number in a way that is relevant to them, in a play-based way that they can really get the hands on, get the understanding, get that solid understanding. So that will hopefully lead on to being a really good critical mathematical thinker. Some children may need lots of exposure and repeated times doing these little things. That's why we have them all the time. We've got subitizing ideas all around nursery. There's baskets of loose parts in nearly every space we've got. So a practitioner can include that in any type of play, that we're doing. So just about subitizing, the things to take away. I know it seems quite tight, but it's we've only got half an hour, so I'm trying to do a little bit on this and then a little bit on the 5 frames, and then it'll come together. So the takeaways from the subitizing, you're modeling your language, not rushing our children. It doesn't replace counting. It does support that deeper understanding, critical thinking. It develops naturally through play and can be challenged and moved on. Subitizing is about seeing number and not counting, seeing number anywhere, inside, outside, in the environment, which is next week, the patterns and inside and outside environment. It grows through that visual experience, the rich development that we can offer as practitioners to our children, the adult language and the modelling, the one of the key things. So think, where could you take subitizing to in your setting? Have you got it already? I'd love to know. If you want to drop me a little message in the chat, or we can catch it at the end and send me a little message. I'd love to know what you're doing already. If you think it wouldn't work, if you think you're doing this, if you think you could check a little bit from this, that would be absolutely amazing. So that's our subitising that we do. As you can see on the picture there, we've got leaves. I think I just picked a load of leaves off from a plant at home, flattened them. We took them in. That play was just, it went on for ages. We were subitising at first. Then we went on to making patterns. We had larger patterns in order from smallest to the biggest. So it was just a whole range of play and learning that happened with a few leaves really. So opportunities are endless. Again, think outside the box. What you think maybe won't work will work. So we'll have a little think about our 5 frames and 10 frames. Um, and again, the aim is just for me to explain a little bit what 5 and 10 frames are, why they're useful, and how you can maybe use them effectively in early years without the pressure to make it sort of formal. Keep it very, in play-based. So developing number sense with a 5 frame. A 5 frame is a simple visual tool with 5 boxes in a row. Each box can hold one object. So on here, as you can see, we've got wooden frames. We've got a masking tape frame. These are all what we've done. 5 frames and 10 frames. Obviously, sometimes children, the very little ones, will come and fill the frames. Every child plays with things differently. But then if you're the model, you're inputting, you can sit beside placing an object in each space. And then we have fabric ones. We have, I think I made a little roll-up fabric one for every staff member, only so big, 5 boxes to roll up and put in the pocket on their apron so they can pull it out and use anytime with little objects. So they're handy. It helps to let children again see numbers rather than just count them. So like we said with the subitising, it works alongside, very similar and overlap. They can easily recognise 1 to 5 numbers, 1 to 5 counting quantities. We all know that children have exposure to ordinal, which is the ordering of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 in songs, in books, in everyday life. They have that. So the subitising works, like I said before, counting. It's part of the number and maths. It's what we do. Subitising is just another little part of introduction to maths and a deeper understanding of that. So, and the cardinal, the counting objects one by one, which some children find a comfort and security to count one by one. So 1 to 5, 1 to 10, depending where your child is at, just one. One is enough initially. 1 to 3, 1 to 3, or just one is fine. 1 to 5, your older children, you may find that, yeah, they're great. They're ready for 10 frames. And there you go. You know the challenge and where to take it. Requires skill of instant observation, does subitising, and recognition, and works in partnership again with all maths learning. Like I said, everything comes together. So we bring it all together with our 5 or 10 frames. What does a 5 frame support? So it does support the subitising again, recognising the small quantities. It builds a number sense, understanding that numbers can be composed and decomposed, creating bigger numbers out of smaller amounts and breaking down bigger numbers. So you've got a full frame with 5 objects in. You take 2 out. What can you see? So you had 5. You've taken, your simple maths in a play-based way. It helps, again, like with the early addition and subtraction, it encourages visual learning and hands-on engagement, which is where our children in early years is at. It supports that early maths language, the more, the less, the total, the missing. It's just there. I mean, these are pictures on the screen at the garden with the wooden 5 frames that we've got our little child placing stones. We've got some that we drew on a tray. That was that little child had spent ages doing a pattern. I think I'd done a pattern and I think they copied me. So again, it's like the modelling, the interaction, the guiding, the narrating alongside. Again, all of these things, these ways of learning, the subitizing, the five frames, they're all linked to the early years foundation stage goals. The counting, the understanding of maths, the pattern recognition. Children can explore full versus empty frames, missing numbers. I have one counters, how many more to make three? Lots of thinking going on there, problem solving. Frames can be used with counters, beads, buttons, stones, shells, small toys, cones. Again, the loose parts, like we've spoke already about, which are just an invaluable resource. Some ideas to use five frames or 10 frames in early years. Children can explore. Again, full versus empty. The daily counting routines. How many children have we here today putting if you've got a small class or you could put a few frames together, you could, put a stone in for each child that arrives. Addition games, I have two. How many more to make four? Removing counters, matching 1 to 5. I have two bears in this house, a frame, three more want to go in. How many now? The emphasis is hands-on, a playful learning. Again, the leaves, the patterns, stones. I think these were the fabric. I think on your screen, the fabric five frames that we made. So they don't have to be expensive. You can tape them on, you can draw them on with chalk, draw them on paper. We had some mats, I think, on the next picture. You might be a little bit concerned about, and how do you assess it? How do you know what your children are doing? You know your children. All children, as we know, are all unique and individual in how they learn and how they process learning. We are astute as practitioners to observe how children interact, how they're interacting with the five frames, their understanding, their experiences, the repeated experiences. Can they subitize 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1? Can they do that? Can they place the objects in the five frames? Can they identify the missing numbers, how many more they need? Can they explain their thinking, which is just like where we want them to be at when they're ready for school. If they were, just wonderful, explaining the critical thinking, the problem solving. And then you use your observations to plan your next steps, where your child's at. If they're only on one at the stage where they can recognise one, that's fine. Just play like that. Play with one. If they're ready for a little bit more, you know your child when you're ready to move them on and challenge. Children initially will most probably count each space one by touch initially, and then they learn the distancing, the visual. It all comes with practice, repetition, consistent learning. Again, there will be challenges, but your perseverance, your enthusiasm, I think, is huge in this. It's likely that children will count by touching initially at first, like we've just said. They may confuse the order of the objects moving forwards or onwards, but going on, if you think about be consistent, have clear layouts, praise the subitizing, enjoy the subitizing, gradually increase that complexity, create five frames in all your spaces. We've got them in every space. We've got in fact ourselves in nursery, we've got them inside, in the snack area, in the front room, in the garden, in the creative, everywhere. They're all over. Draw one, chalk one, fabric, wood, anything. We use the mats, however you want. Your imagination is wonderful. We gave all staff a small fabric one, like I said, to roll up. So it's something, maybe it'd be an idea, just so you've got one you can pull out and use, just to keep it there, whenever you might need it. Again, keeping your loose parts and remembering the less is more. Without a doubt, that approach, the less is more. Don't overload it. Don't put loads of objects out. Keep it less. Less is more. Keep it simple. Then they will keep coming back. You keep coming back. Have the consistency, the repetition to reinforce and make it real. Real maths in real spaces. And I think it's very exciting. I think here we're all that astute to knowing where our children are. We use the same kind of language. I think that's key in a lot of early learning for children, to keep that consistency. Everybody using the same language, modeling the same things. Um, so the key takeaways I'd love you to take away today from the five frames are they are a simple but powerful tool for early number sense. They support the subitizing that we've spoke about, the addition, the subtraction, the number composition. They can be used in a variety of ways. We can observe children's thinking and guide their learning to move it on. We can be mindful to start small and build the confidence. Be resourceful, use your loose parts, subitizing five frames alone or just with your loose parts alone, or together or shared. And then reflect, evaluate. How could you use five frames in your setting tomorrow? Have a little think. I mean, and I'd love to know if you're using them already, if you use them in a more formal way, how you might like to think about using them. And I just really hope that you'll think outside the box a little, keep your mind open to what your children are interested in, be engaged, co-play, talk and guide as you go, and see an opportunity and be ready and enjoy the learning. I think we can maybe finish the recording now, Nat.